Let's talk about NMC UK Revalidation. Every year, after your registration with the NMC UK, you have to renew your PIN. You do this PIN renewal by paying £120 to the NMC UK. 3 years after your registration, you have to go through the NMC UK revalidation process. Now, getting to the 3 years, the NMC will send you a message to remind you of your revalidation. You do this revalidation online. You have to create an NMC online account in order to go through the revalidation. The process itself is not difficult, it's not tedious, but if you leave it too late before you start the whole process, you become anxious and you tend to make more mistakes. I will advise everybody to start your preparation for your revalidation process very early. I'm going to go through the requirements for the entire revalidation process, how to get each of these requirements. I'll explain to you into details the templates that you need for your revalidation. My name is Mordecai. This is the Nature and Lifestyle channel. If today is your first time here, kindly subscribe. If you are a returning subscriber, thanks very much for coming to watch today. The revalidation is done on the first day of the month you registered with the NMC, but you can submit this 60 days prior to this day. Let's talk about the requirement. You need at least 450 practice hours within the 3 years after you register with the NMC UK, and this is for those with single registration with the NMC. If you have double registration with the NMC, for example, if you are registered with the NMC as a nurse and the same time as a midwife, then you need up to 900, at least 900 practice hours within the 3 years after you issued your NMC UK PIN. The practice hours is just the number of hours you practice as a nurse or as a midwife or as a nurse associate, the number of hours you practice on the field. Let me also explain that you don't only calculate the practice hours according to the number of hours you spend in a hospital or a care home. If you are in a management position as a nurse or midwife, if you are an educator as a nurse or midwife, if you make policies as a nurse or a midwife, you can use all these settings as your practice hours. So it is not only working in a hospital or a care home that you can regard as practice hours. Now let me show you an example of the practice hours log template, and let me remind you, I'll be leaving the link to these templates in this video description. This is how the whole practice hours log template looks like. We have the dates, name and address of the organization, your work setting, so where you work, and just as I said, it is not necessarily always a hospital or a care home, okay? Wherever that you do your nursing related job, you can put the name of your setting here. The scope of your practice, so if you work directly with patient or resident, it is direct patient care. The number of hours is very important. And with the number of hours, you don't state the huge number of hours you've worked. No, you only state the number of hours you do per week. So for those who do 45.5 hours per week, you put here. Those who do 22.5 hours per week, you put here. If you do 37.5 hours a week, you also put it here exactly. The next one is your registration. Whether you're a nurse, a midwife, or a nurse associate, you put it here. Then a brief description of your work, what you do at your workplace, just a brief description of it. So guys, this is the practice hours log template. If you don't achieve this practice hours within the 3 years after your registration, or within the 3 years after your last NMC revalidation, then you need to do the NMC UK Return to Practice course. You can check the NMC UK website and you find more information about this. The next requirement is you need at least 35 hours of continuous professional development, what we call CPD. 35 hours of CPD within these 3 years. 20 hours out of the entire 35 hours should be in a form of participatory learning. Participatory learning is simply the type of learning that the individual personally attends the program. So, for example, if you attended a conference, a meeting, if you attended a training workshop, or you were schooling within these 3 years and it's related to your nursing and midwifery work, you can regard it as participatory learning. And within the 3 years, you should get 20 hours of this participatory learning. The other 15 hours could be in a form of online learning where you don't personally attend the workshop. So you add the 15 hours of online learning or independent learning to the 20 hours of participatory learning. Then it will make 35 hours of continuous professional development. Let's look at the continuous professional development log template. The continuous professional development log template. So on the template, there are some simple things here. We have the date you attended the course, the method. So the method here can be an online learning, a course attendance, or an independent learning that you did yourself. The topics discussed at whichever course or learning that you did. Okay. Now the links to the code. Now, whichever course we list here has to be linked to one of the NMC code of practice. Then the next place is you have to state the number of hours. And this is the entire hours. Then here, the last one, the number of participatory hours. And you remember I explained participatory hours to you. Okay. So the total hours, you need to get at least 35 of this within 3 years. And out of this 35, 20, at least 20 has to be in the form of participatory hours. Okay. The next requirement is we need 5 practice-related feedbacks. Okay, 5 practice-related feedbacks. Now, these feedbacks can be in several forms. So there can be feedback from patients and other service users. So the patient we take care of, they give us feedback. It could be positive feedback or negative feedback. We can use all these feedbacks here. We also get feedback from our colleagues at work, and the colleagues could be a colleague in the same rank or a senior colleague at work. Feedback from students. So when you mentor a student, you get a feedback from the student. You can use it here as well. Feedback from team performance reports. Team performance reports. So when we have, let's say, a nurses meeting or meeting with the other members of the multidisciplinary team, we have feedback from these meetings and we can use it here as well. Then we also do annual appraisal. As part of your appraisal, you have to get a feedback from whoever you are doing the appraisal from. The feedback could be positive or could be negative. Okay, whether positive or negative, it doesn't matter. You have to state it here. Then feedback from serious event reviews. So something happened at work, you attended a disciplinary meeting, or you attended any form of meeting to discuss something that happened at work. Okay, this can also be used as a feedback. Now, the feedback could be in a verbal form, in a form of letter or a card, a survey or a report. So it could be in several forms here. Let's look at the feedback log template. The feedback log template. So the date of the feedback. Okay, so the date here, the source of the feedback. Where did this feedback come from? So example, a woman I looked after on the ward. A woman I looked after on the ward. Okay, it is simple. The type of feedback, how was the feedback received? It could be in the form of a card or a letter. It could be in the form of just verbal, okay, as stated earlier. Then the content of the feedback. The content here is very important. It could be a thank you letter that somebody sent you. It could be like a disciplinary measure that someone gave to you, or it could be an advice that someone gave you. You can all state here. Okay, so this is the feedback log template. The next requirement is you need at least 5 reflective accounts within the 3 years. 5 reflective accounts. Now, these reflective accounts are simple. They are either your CPD activities that you did, your practice-related feedback that you had, experiences or events that occurred at work, okay, that occurred at work, training programs you attended, courses you attended, they can all be used as part of the reflective account. Now, during the reflective account, this is what the NMC demands of you. Now, you state the nature of the reflective account. So let me give an example. It could be, let's say, a training program, okay, a training program that you attended. Let's say infection prevention and control training. Now, after you attended the training, they want you to state what you learned during the training. So whatever that you learned during the training, or whatever that was discussed during the training, you state it as part of the reflective account. How did you change or improve your practice as a result? So you went to a training about infection prevention and control. You learned about something. Now, when you return back to your place of work, how did that training change the way you practice your nursing? What are some of the changes that you did at your place of work as a result of the training you attended? The next one is, how is this relevant to the code? How is this relevant to the code? And you know, we have 4 themes of the code. We have prioritize people, practice effectively, preserve safety, promote professionalism and trust. So whichever reflective account that you do, it should be at least related to one of the themes of the NMC code. Okay, so you explain there as well. So this is how the reflective account is. This is how the reflective account is. Guys, it is not difficult. It is not difficult at all. After your 5 reflective accounts, the next thing you have to do is a reflective discussion. A reflective discussion. Now, this reflective discussion, it's simply you discussing whatever that you've stated in your reflective account. The reflective discussion is done with anybody who holds a valid NMC UK registration, okay? Anybody with a valid NMC UK registration who is not undergoing any investigation or any disciplinary measure, you can do it. The person can be your colleague, band 5 nurse, a band 6, your nurse manager, or anyone with a valid NMC UK registration. And just as I said, what both of you are going to do here is you are going to take the reflective account that you have written. You're going to take it one by one and discuss everything in the reflective account. The person has to make sure that you correctly wrote the reflective account. You correctly stated whatever that was learned during the reflective account. You correctly wrote what you learned during the reflective account and the impact it had on your practice of work. Okay, so you and the person during the reflective discussion have to go through all these. Now, this is how the reflective discussion template looks like. So this is the reflective discussion form here. Okay, the first part here is to be completed by you, that nurse, midwife, or nurse associate who is doing the whole NMC revalidation process. The next part here is to be completed by that nurse, midwife, or the nurse associate that you did your reflective discussion with. So the person's name, the person's NMC PIN, email address, professional address including postcode, contact number, date of discussion, and short memory of the discussion. So short memory of the discussion is simply what both of you discussed, okay, a summary of what both of you discussed, and if there were any correction, some of the correction the person did. This is simple. After your reflective discussion, you then do your health and character declaration. This health and character declaration is done on the NMC online website, okay? It's done on NMC online. It is not a template that you have to complete. It's just some boxes you have to take, some yes and no answers you have to give. And it's simply the NMC still want to be sure that you are in good health and you are in good character, you are fit to practice still, okay? This is simple. The next one is your professional indemnity arrangement. Your professional indemnity arrangement is simply the NMC wanting to know if you have any professional indemnity cover, okay? Any cover in case you make any mistake or you do anything that anybody wants to press charges, okay? The NMC want to know if you have cover. Now, this cover, which is also in form of an insurance, is usually given by your employer. Those of us with the NHS provides an indemnity cover. If you join a private care home, you need to find out from your care home if they have a professional indemnity arrangement. So here you just write it's by contract, okay? You just state it's by contract. Your professional indemnity cover is by contract, especially those of us with the NHS. The last requirement for the revalidation process is your confirmation. This confirmation is done by somebody who is your superior, and mostly is done by the line manager or your care home manager or your ward manager, okay? So the manager at the workplace usually does this, but it is not compulsory that your manager has to do this. Just that whoever is doing your confirmation has to be at least some ranks above you, okay? That is the advice. Now, I will also advise you, it is not on the NMC website, this is a personal advice, that whoever is doing your confirmation has to at least be the person who did your reflective discussion, okay? So that superior doing your confirmation can be the same person who did your reflective discussion. It makes the whole process easier for you, okay? It makes the whole process easier. That's an advice from me. So the confirmer here is not going to check the details of whichever document you have provided. It's not going to check the details of your practice-related feedbacks or your CPD or the details of your reflective account. The confirmer wants to check if you have all those processes done, all those documents in order, okay? So she's just checking. So he or she is just checking, okay, so the person has the 5 practice-related feedbacks done. The person has the 5 reflective accounts done. The person has the 5 reflective discussions done. The person has stated the practice hours. Everything is in order. So that is what the confirmer is just going to do. Now we have a confirmation form here, and if you look on the confirmation form, the first part to be completed by the nurse midwife or the nurse associate. And here you just state your name, your PIN, your date of last renewal of registration or the date that you joined the register. You also have to state who you are receiving the confirmation from. So we have the list here, okay? Now this part is to be completed by the confirmer. So the confirmer's details, everything here, and the confirmer's NMC PIN is also there. If you are a regulated healthcare professional, you can also provide your details here, okay? You can also provide your details here. Now, your confirmer has to take these boxes to make sure that he or she has actually checked the document, okay? So, has checked your practice hours, your continuous professional development, has checked your practice feedback, your written reflective account, your written reflective discussions, okay? And this is just the confirmer signing and dating that he or she has done all these checks. Now, after all this process, after you've gone through your document, the NMC UK will usually not ask you to submit your revalidation document. No. They only ask, let's say, only 1 out of 10 people doing the revalidation. 1 out of 10. So, most at times, they don't ask anyone to submit their revalidation document to them to have a look at. You log into your NMC online account, you answer some questions, you pay your revalidation money there, you put your confirmers details there, your own details on the NMC online account. Okay, that's what you do. But wait, let me advise you, and this is what my ward manager told me, that sometimes NMC officials will come to your house directly to have a look at your revalidation document. Okay, so sometimes they will not ask you to submit it to them, but they will come to your house because they have your address details. They will come to your house and personally they want to look at your revalidation document. So guys, it is advisable that you do everything correctly. You don't cut corners. It's advisable that you have all your documents there in place. Even if they don't tell you to submit it, have it there ready. When they tell you to submit it, or when they want to have a look at it, then everything will be simple for you. So thanks very much for watching me today. This has been a Nature and Lifestyle channel. I'm Mordecai. If you need any help with your revalidation, if you need any questions about revalidation, just ask it in the comment section. Please subscribe to this channel. See you another time.